インタビュー。
Anyway, changing subject. What purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life in the last 6 months or in recent memory? Because my program's title, Life Update.
I would have to say my subscription to X.
Oh, what type of subscription on X?
Just the premium Twitter subscription. It verifies you and forces you to use the platform more because you feel invested in the platform. To be quite honest, Twitter is changing my life every single day.
Oh, really?
Because if it wasn't for Twitter, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. Twitter is how I've made most of my connections in Japan. It's how I began teaching and coaching publicly, connecting with several Twitter accounts with thousands more followers than I have. So the reach is incredible. The people I've met there are so amazing. Planning, having an in-person meetup, for example, in Ikebukuro the other day. A lot of what I'm doing and where I'm going has started from Twitter. And I still believe that the foundation of my public career as a teacher and a coach has come from starting Twitter.
So for me, Twitter is very suitable. I don't know the reason why, but simply you have a lot of option to use to focus other than Twitter.
Yes.
Of course, you have another media. Why Twitter?
I was definitely strategic in my thinking of choosing Twitter first. Similar to building confidence speaking English as a second language. I need to build confidence teaching and coaching to an audience. Twitter has been a space where I can be myself and get that practice and exposure, whether it's different methods of writing, different writing practices, whether it's a paragraph about my day or a couple of paragraphs related to English, tips for speaking or idioms, pronunciation. It's able to give me that practice I need to improve. Also with Twitter Spaces, I can improve my speaking skills. I can prove to people that I care, that I actually want to help them improve in their skills. It also provides a space where I can easily get to know people who have already created success in their lives. Who you hang around with is who you become. So I think it's important to try and network with the people that not only you want to become similar to, but you can use them as mentors. And once people see that you're inspired to grow, they're inspired to help you more. And so this is why Twitter does not require video, so I can practice speaking without being in front of the camera. You mentioned other platforms. You mentioned there's more. There's, again, Instagram, YouTube. Instagram is the next step for me. This is why I'm taking a course on speaking and communication in August, because it's going to help teach me how to speak and communicate, one, but two, in front of the camera. So I can learn and become comfortable on camera. And as I do that, I believe I will expand pretty quickly to the other platforms.
You're a hard worker or runner. What drives you to push forward? Of course, you are so young compared to me, but other than that...
You look pretty young though, I don't know.
No, I'm 44 years old.
I'm 34.
Only 10 years.
Only 10 years.
Of course, I understood your passion of your business, of your life. But other than that, simply you like traveling, you like learning something new.
Yes, learning for sure. What I learn, one reason is teaching and coaching other people lets you learn more, not only about their life, but about where they're from, the world they live in. I've worked with so many different people these days, everybody from university students, CEOs to big companies, lawyers, surgeons, doctors, IT techs, aerospace engineers, biologists, And sometimes kids, like everybody. And I've just learned that everybody is working on English for a different reason to achieve a different goal. But at the end of the day, it's about making their life better. Whether you're a housewife taking care of 2 kids all day and English is your outlet, it's your hobby, it's your break, or you're a neurosurgeon potentially dealing with English patients in an emergency, that little bit of communication just can make a huge difference, personal or career. And honestly, my learning from all of these people is so cool because you end up with so many different stories you can share, which is something I want to think about for my podcast, sharing stories from the past interactions with students. But ultimately, the drive moving forward is I just want to help more people. Like, I really care because it really, when people tell you, thank you so much, I passed the interview, I got the job I've really wanted, or I got the visa to another country, or I got the acceptance to the university I wanted to go to. You know that as a coach or as a teacher that you're a part of that journey. You really help them with that, and it feels really good. It feels good to help people make their dreams become reality. And I just want to help people do that. I really love helping people reach their goals.
So when it comes to learning, I think reading books is a lot of opportunity to learn something. Do you like reading?
Yes, there's a lot you can learn through books. The important thing is using what you learn.
Yeah, exactly. What book has greatest impact on you?
There's a few I can think of off the top of my head. One of them is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And that book is about working harder than anybody else, period. If somebody works 10 hours, you work 100 hours. If somebody posts once a day, you post 10 times a day. If somebody goes live for 1 hour, you go live for 10 hours. It's the idea, not, of course, following it exactly, but it's just the idea of putting 10x the effort into what you're trying to accomplish. I like it in relation to goals. A lot of people overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And so if you imagine setting a goal 10 times, your original goal, you will have to think 10 times bigger to achieve it. And even if you don't achieve it, that's okay. Maybe you make it 50%, but 50% of a goal at 10x is 5 times higher than your original goal at 1x. So even by failing the big goal, you've actually super succeeded the little goal. And so I believe his book has taught me how to think bigger and how to set bigger goals for myself.
I agree. So last 5 years after COVID, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Good question. I would say my work ethic.
What does it mean?
So work ethic means your ability to do things, to work hard on something and not necessarily expecting a result immediately. Work ethic is just working hard. But for me personally, I'm working hard knowing it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm investing the time up front. We say delayed gratification. So I'm working really hard now under the idea that I may not see financial gain or a big result for me for a few years, but that's okay because you have to start somewhere. And if you don't have a day 1, then you can't have day 100 or day 1000. Right? So for me, I would say in the last few years, just being willing to put in the hours, willing to put in the effort for delayed gratification.
Thank you. Do you have any routine or ritual to your life update?
Routine. I think there are so many people in the world selling you on having a routine, a morning routine, for example. People will tell you, get up and do 10 minutes of motivation and 30 minutes of reading and 50 minutes of stretching. And, by the time it's lunchtime, maybe you can start your work. I don't know. I think a lot of that is ridiculous. as I've learned. The two people I am learning from the most right now, Layla Ormozi and Alex Ormozi, whom I recommend to anybody learning business or building business. They've helped me feel very good about the routine I started a couple of years ago. It might shock a lot of people, but my routine is very simple. I wake up at 6:50, I make a coffee at 6:55, and I start working at 7.
Wow, really?
Yes. And I take my first break around 10 o'clock. And the reason I do this is because by getting up and just starting to work, by the time I have breakfast at 10 o'clock, I have already had 3 hours of success. I've already made 3 hours of progress on my goals. And so I'll have a quick breakfast and then I jump back at it.
Is it difficult to get a start just waking up?
Maybe in the beginning for people, if you're just trying it, if you're just getting into that habit. It's not difficult for me because I made this my routine a few years ago. I just decided this is the way it's going to be. I'm going to get up and I'm going to start immediately. I'm not even going to think about it. Make my coffee and sit down and go. This has helped me create the majority of my success. If I have a late night, it doesn't matter. 6:50, 6:55, coffee, start at 7 o'clock. My sleep routine has always found a way to balance, and my morning routine has never changed. And I do that 7 days a week.
7 days a week?
7 days a week. I make sure I wake up and start what I'm doing at 7 o'clock.
Recently, I'm thinking about the importance of keeping good vibes. Some routine or ritual important in my life, our lives. But on the other hand, so at least me, recently, nothing is important than keeping good vibes. Any other tips? Because even how you have strong ability about everything and how you talented person, if you can't keep good vibes, everything is difficult, I think. In such a sense, I'm very busy to find out a lot of tips to keep good vibes. For example, it's okay, small, happy things about drinking coffee, do running, do meditation, no costs. A lot of times. Do you have any tips to keep good vibes in your life?
I believe in optimism a lot. I follow a little bit of the Stoic philosophy.
Yes.
I believe we have to look for what's right, not look for what's wrong. What's wrong is all around us, but so is what's right. If I open the door and I notice that it's raining really hard, instead of getting angry at the weather and thinking, oh, it's raining, this is terrible, I have to, walk to the bus stop or I have to walk to the train station, I'm going to get wet, this is no good. I just have to turn around and grab my umbrella and just go. When you're in a negative situation, you just have to, as quickly as possible, focus on the solution, not the problem. Being solution-oriented leads you to being more optimistic. Being optimistic leads you to feeling happier about your life and happier about what's going on in life. And yeah, sometimes you're wrong and sometimes it doesn't work out well. That being said, I would rather be optimistically wrong than pessimistically right. If I'm optimistically wrong, I still enjoyed that process to find out I was wrong. But if I'm pessimistically right, I didn't enjoy that process. I was complaining the whole time. I ended up having that problem, but instead of being positive and enjoying that process, I was being negative and complaining the whole time. I'd rather be positive, enjoying the process, and then in the end it didn't work out, but I can learn from that. I can move on.
It might be related to the answer you said to me now. How has a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours?
The last few years I've been so focused on improving my skills as a teacher and a coach. So I haven't had too many failures there because it's more so continuous improvement. I'm trying to think of failures that I've had though. From a financial side, I've sold investments too early. So that's one failure that I learned from the hard way. Yeah. Don't sell investments early. From a personal side, maybe failures in earlier on in communication where I was a little too self-absorbed, thinking about myself a little more instead of considering the other person, where they're at. And so a part of my learning curve earlier on was, learning how to analyze the situation from the other person's perspective. Because in any given situation, there's how I see things, but then there's how you see things. And how you see things might be very different. Therefore, I need to stop and think from your perspective and then respond. Because if I respond to a problem based on how I see it, it might make you angry if the perspective is very different.
Yeah. Your answer is very deep answer. I'm thinking about, unfortunately, we Japanese, many of us don't speak English, but we have a lot of possibility to speak English. Please tell us about speaking and using English more and more.
Absolutely. The big thing is, if you're learning English, you have to feel confident with what you already know. Even if you just know how to say, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. And you, goodbye. Very simple. You just have to feel confident with what you know. There's nothing wrong with that. You can feel confident with English knowing your 5 words, and you can feel confident knowing that you have a lot more English to learn, right? At the end of the day, you have to speak English in order to get better with English. You have to speak so that you can make a mistake. You have to make the mistake so that you can know what to practice. You have to practice so that you can speak better. And then you have to speak so that you can improve. It's a cycle.
Yeah, that's nice. So in such a sense, English learning foreign language is like life lesson.
Yes, it is. It helps you communicate with more people for more reasons. It opens up opportunity. As I mentioned briefly earlier, for me, I need to learn Japanese. I need to learn a lot more than I know. I'm very confident with the little bit that I know. I can say, Ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa. You taught me earlier how to say,
私の名前はジョーダンです。
私の
名前は
Jordan
です。
this. So I can learn this and I can practice this, but you have to practice. That's the thing. And you have to feel comfortable practicing. Everybody is at a different level. Your English is different from the person sitting across from you or from the person in the other room.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. You were learning for 5 years. They were learning for 2 years or 10 years. You studied harder because you had a big test. They studied a little bit because it's a hobby. Everyone is at a different level, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, you need to learn for you, but you need to be willing to speak just a little bit. Be willing to speak just a little bit to practice. Because every time you speak, that's one more exposure to English that you give yourself. It's a gift. Every time you speak English, it's the gift of exposure that you've just created for yourself to improve.
Okay. What is the biggest lesson that life has taught you so far?
That you have to work hard for what you want. Nothing is going to be handed to you. Well, in most cases, nothing will be handed to you so easily. If you have big goals, you have to work for those goals. I thought it would be very easy to, build my audience initially on Twitter, but it wasn't. I did thousands and thousands of comments and replies and posts just to reach my first 1,000 followers. And I'm still growing, I'm still learning. You have to really work for what you want to achieve. You have to believe in it. You have to want it. And your goal should inspire you. What you want to do should inspire you. So I would say that's the biggest thing I've learned in life is working for what you want and have a goal big enough that it inspires you to wake up and start every day.
So you are so passionate person. So if you have no limit about money, time, etc.
If I reach the stage of success where I'm not financially concerned, where I do have the time, the resources. I really just want to expand in what I would already be starting. So I would expand my podcast even more. I would maybe do more live streaming, do more coaching, take time to write more books. I understand writing is quite the process, so that would require significant amounts of time. I would want to travel, of course. I would love to see other parts of the world.
Yes.
Europe, Africa, more of Asia, South America. And I think there's a lot of places to discover. More of what I'm already doing, and I would reinvest. I'm a firm believer that you have to reinvest in your business, in your investments. The business is an investment. So I would reinvest into expanding that and travel.
So when it comes to travel, so which new country or city would you like to go to in the near future?
Yeah, I would really like to explore more of China in Asia. I would love to explore China. There's a lot of beautiful cities.
Yes.
Chongqing, Chengdu, Xi'an, Harbin in the north. A lot of nice areas I would like to see there. I would like to explore in the Americas. I'd like to see Brazil. I've worked with quite a few people from Brazil. In South America, and Turkey as well, Istanbul, Antalya.
Wow.
They have a lot of history, a lot of architecture from the Ottoman Empire.
Yes, that's nice. What about your next plan? I mean, now you are staying in Japan, and next, which country?
Yeah, I will be in Japan for another 2 days, and then I head to the Philippines.
Oh, Philippines.
Yeah, I'll be staying in Cebu, Philippines. That's more or less where I've based myself the last several years. Once I reach Cebu, I will be working towards some dental work I want to get done in the fall.
Oh, dental.
Yeah, get my teeth fixed up a little bit.
Why Philippines?
Immigration is very friendly, so it's easy to stay there. The people of the Philippines are incredible. They're very friendly, very helpful. The weather is subtropical. Everybody speaks English, and things are a lot more affordable there as well. But largely, location-wise too, if you're in the Philippines, it's central to all of the Asian countries. I can be in Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, China, Korea, Taiwan, Indonesia within 4 hours.
Very convenient. So finally, please let me know how audience can contact you if they want to teach English directly. Not directly now, it's difficult maybe, but
if you're at all using English as a second language, if you're speaking English as a second language, or you need to speak English as a second language, come find me on Twitter. I'm sure my Twitter can be shared when this interview gets posted. And by then, actually, I should be doing a lot more live events, like live Twitter spaces where you can come and hang out, do some conversation. I plan on designing, I believe at this point, it'll be a 12-week program that I will hopefully launch in the new year for improving speaking, communication, pronunciation. That'll be, I'll share more details about that later in the year. But for now, I'm still expanding on Twitter.
Okay. Wow, it's time to finish. Time flies. It's very exciting interview. Thank you for taking time. I wish next time in London, in Canada.
Oh, possibly.
I'd like to interview.
Who knows?
Or foreign countries.
Anything's possible.
Have a nice travel in Japan or Philippines.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
いつもインタビューをご視聴いただいてありがとうございます。この度スタートしたメンバーシップでは、各界のトップランナーから戦争体験者に至るまで2000人以上にインタビューしてきた僕が、国内外の取材、そして旅の中で、見つけた人生をアップデートするコンテンツをお届けしていきたいと思います。ここでしか聞けない特別インタビューや秘蔵トークにもアクセスしていただけます。随時これは面白い、これはいいんじゃないかっていうコンテンツも、アップデートしていきますので、そちらも含めてどうか今後の展開を楽しみにしていただけたらと思います。なお、いただいた、皆様からのメンバーシップのこの会費はですね、インタビューシリーズの の制作費だったり、国内外のインタビューに伴う交通費、宿泊費、その他、取材の諸々の活動経費に使わせていただきたいと思っています。最後になぜ、僕が無料で、インタビューを配信し続けるのか、少しだけお話しさせてください。この一番の理由はですね、僕自身が、人の話によってうつや幾度の困難から救われてきたからです。そして何より、国内外のたくさんの視聴者の方からこれまで人生が変わりました、前に進む勇気をもらいました、救われましたという声をいただき続けてきたからに他なりません。この声は、世界がコロナ禍に見舞われた2020年頃から、一層増えたように思います。これは本当に、ありがたいことです。ただ同時に、それだけ、心身ともに疲弊したり不安を抱えたりしている方が増えていることに他ならない、その裏返しであると僕は強く感じています。正直に言えば僕自身も15年以上前に起業して以来、最大のピンチと言っても過言ではない時期を、この数年送り続けてきました。でもこんな時だからこそ守りに入ることなくインスピレーションと学びにあふれるまだ見ぬインタビューを、送り続けることがインタビュアーとしての自分の使命なのではないかと強く感じています。世界がますます混迷を極め先の見えない時代だからこそ僕はインタビューの力を信じています。これまでのようにトップランナーや戦争体験者の方への取材はもちろん、今後は僕たちと同じ姿勢の人、普通の人の声に耳を傾けたり、ややもすると内向きになってしまう今こそ海外でのインタビューに力を入れていきたいと思っています。そして彼らの一つ一つの声を音声や映像だけでなく本としてもしっかりと残していきたい、そう考えています。そんな思いに共感してくださる方がこのメンバーシップの一員になってくださったらこれほど心強く、そして嬉しいことはありません。ぜひメンバーシップの方でも皆様とお耳にかかれるのを楽しみにしています。以上、早川洋平でした。